What's up, guys? So it's been 2 days since we got back from the dyno. I was reviewing and editing the footage and realized that a lot of the footage just wasn't good to use. Between how loud things were, me forgetting to bring hearing protection, so I was trying to protect my hearing while recording, so everything was super shaky. And then also the shop had other stuff going on other than just the dyno, so I was kind of in people's way trying to film. So I decided I'd just do a post dyno, kind of explained everything that went on, pros, cons, and I'll post everything, all the numbers and everything, all the videos will be after this. So we took this and my buddy's C6 Grand Sport to the dyno. We threw his car on first. He did a couple pulls. That way, just took him so he could have some fun too. He'd never been to a dyno before, so figured it'd be a fun time. And then after that, we pulled his car off and got mine on to start tuning it. The first pull was really lean, so we let out after only a couple seconds, and then we started pulls 2 and 3. I don't know if I'm using all of them yet, but you guys will see. The first real pull, it just kind of revved out super fast. It ended up being the tires. They just did not like the dyno in third gear or fourth gear, whichever gear we were using. So it just slipped really bad and just kind of pinged the limiter. So it wasn't obviously a pull that could be used to tune the car. It took us a while to figure out that it was actually the tires. For the first probably hour of my dyno session, we thought it was clutch slip, and we were really confused as to how, because this clutch should never slip on the little amount of power this car ended up making. This clutch should be good for well over 1,000 horsepower. So we were a little bit confused as to what was going on. We were back and forth. We didn't understand how 315 wide R888Rs would be slipping on the dyno in fourth gear. So we just assumed it was the clutch, which it ended up not being the clutch. It ended up being, one, my lack of knowledge as to the tire pressure. I drained the tires down a few months ago, but obviously it's gotten a lot hotter outside since then. So what I dropped the tire pressure to back then, I thought it was still the same. We checked it, it was way too high. So we ended up dropping tire pressure down to about 20. And then the issue went away. There was a little bit of spin whenever the turbo first ramps into boost, but after that, we just ended up dynoing it in fifth gear. It just ended up being easier, and we had no more slip, and we could properly tune the car. So we diagnosed that. It wasn't necessarily super hard to do. We took a torch to the tires, heated them up a little bit, and then we ended up making the rest of our passes. We ended up making 2 passes after that on 93 octane, in which it made about, I think it was like 477 wheel horsepower. The torque readings are not going to be correct on any of the dyno sheets. The calibration was right for horsepower, but the torque rating was off, so I'll just describe the horsepower, or I'll just tell you guys the amount of torque that it made. So on 93, I don't know what torque it made. I don't really care, as the 93 tune is kind of just there for me to cruise back and forth whenever E85 is not available, for whenever I take it to far away like shows, meets, or whatever. I don't want to be stranded, so I decided to go flex fuel. And then as soon as I was happy with how it was doing with 93, we immediately threw some E85 in there, drained the tank, threw some ethanol in there. Ethanol content was all right. It was good enough to tune it, even with a little bit of 93 left in there. This car wasn't making a huge amount of power, so we didn't need straight E85. So I'll not disclose the dyno numbers for horsepower, but since the torque reading on the dyno sheet was wrong, I'll tell you, I think it made 461 wheel torque. So that's pretty high compared to how much horsepower it made for an F series. Like I said, it is a stroker kit, so it's a 2.4 liter stroker. So that's one of the reasons the torque reading is higher than normal. It really kind of puts the rear diff and drivetrain at risk, but it won't be an issue once all that stuff's swapped out. So other than that, I think that really concludes kind of the post dyno day, kind of just filling you guys in on what happened. That way you guys aren't confused as to why it's revving out so quick, why it's doing this or that. just because there wasn't any time really to explain it as it was happening. I was paying for the dyno time, I was paying for my tuner's time, I didn't want to waste anybody's time, so we just kind of knocked it out as quickly and efficiently as we could. So that's the explanation. Hopefully that clears up any questions, and let's get right into the dyno videos. All right, just got it strapped down and calibrated. Let's hope. Like 365, and I can't read the torque number